Hello guys and welcome back. So today, as the name of this video would suggest, I'm making a video about potty training. I never thought I would see the day on this channel. I've spoken about everything like throughout pregnancy and all of that jazz, but potty training I've yet to speak about, and I really wanted to just make a video to talk about my experience. And this is a disclaimer coming early doors because I personally get really frustrated with anyone, unless they're like a potty training expert, even if they've got like 3 kids, dishing out the advice like it's gospel, because every kid is different. I get annoyed about kind of parenting advice online in general for that reason, because I don't feel like I'm qualified to really give advice. I have 1 child for a start, but also everyone's kid is different, everyone's family is different, everyone does things in different ways. But I wanted to make a video just to share my experience and share most specifically a book that I found really useful during potty training with River, and as you will be able to see by the title, we pretty much potty trained her in a day, and that is 100% down to this book. I tried a couple of times to kind of introduce the potty, and you know what, when I first started potty training, the idea of reading a book on potty training, I was like, you're right, I'm not reading a book on potty training, we'll just do it when we're ready, like she'll just do it. And then we kind of tried to introduce it a few times and it really didn't work. She massively resisted it. I knew she was old enough because she was 2.5. My mum always said to me, she was like, wait until the summer after they turn 2, because you want to do it in the summer because it's a lot easier with the weather. They're wearing less clothes, obviously, which is 100% true. I agree with her on that. And timing wise, it was right. So I was like, I know she's ready. She understands what's going on. She's giving me all the like cues that I'd heard about. And we just completely hit a wall. And then at that point I actually spoke to one of my friend's sisters who has a child the same age, almost exactly the same age as Riv, and he's also called Riv. Amazing. So thanks Daisy for this recommendation. She recommended this book to me, and it is Oh Crap, Potty Training by Jamie Glowacki? The Pied Piper of Poop. I like that. I think this is an American book. I feel like she's either American or Canadian, judging by the way she writes. Either way, potty training the same, wherever you are. And genuinely, I read this book. I actually didn't read the entire thing yet. I basically read up to where I needed to. I didn't do the like all the extra bits, because I was kind of like, if this doesn't work, I got about halfway through and I was like, I feel confident doing it, and if it doesn't work, I'll read the rest. But basically it just worked. The tips that she gives in this worked so well, and we basically ended up, River, we went from being completely like nowhere near, having never been on the potty, nowhere interested, not even sat on it, to pretty much completely getting it in a day. And I wanted to share this video first of all to share this book in general, and I'm going to share a few tips that I found most useful from this book, but I'm not giving you all the info from this book. Clearly it's a whole book. I very much would recommend, if you are potty training, to buy this book because it is brilliant, and it worked for us. It just 100% worked. But I also wanted to share some of the main tips that I got from this that helped me and that I was doing completely wrong. So the first thing, the main recommendation from this book is dedicate a few full days to it. So like a long weekend, which is what we did. No plans, don't go anywhere. Ideally, like if you can look at the weather forecast and it's good weather that weekend, or that like 3 or 4 days that you've put aside, that's also great, because the second tip is to do the first day completely naked. So which we did, and we actually did it, and during, it was about a month ago now, during the like heat wavy kind of times, and she was perfectly happy being naked because it was warm, and obviously we weren't going anywhere, so I was perfectly happy with her being naked because it was just me and her in the house, and then me and her at Mike at the weekend, and me and her and Mike at the weekend. So that is the main tip. The other thing is to be really firm about the nappies going away, which is also what we didn't do before. We put the nappies away actually in the bin, although I didn't throw them away because we still use them at night time. I put them in the bin and then I went and got them out later when she wasn't looking and hid them upstairs for bedtime, because we haven't done the nighttime training, although I think we're going to do it soon because she's pretty much dry every night now. Anyway, so be really firm about that. Show that you're like putting the nappies away, because that was one of the major barriers we came across with her when we tried a couple of times before. We were like, let's use the potty, let's take the nappy off, there's no more nappies. And she's like, yes, there are nappies, and went and found them where we store the nappies. So basically we hid all the nappies away and we're like, there's no nappies, that's it. You either like have an accident or you go on the potty. The nappies are not an option, and be really, really firm about it. And then the other tip that I found really useful relating to this from this book was consider your language when talking about accidents and going. So rather than saying like, it's fine, it's okay if they have an accident, like obviously don't be like, it's not okay, and like tell them off, but don't say that it's fine, because it's not. Like if I poop my pants, that's not okay. So like use language more like, oh no, like mummy will clear it up, but next time it goes in the potty, okay? Like, and that exact like specific language when you are like 2, it means a lot. Because obviously if you're saying that something's okay, don't worry, and like trying to calm them and soothe them, then they kind of get the impression that they can do it again, and it doesn't matter. And that's really worked with Riv as well, because I noticed the first week or so, whenever Mike, because Mike's a real pushover in terms of things like that, he's like, don't worry, it's okay. And she would have, and she had her only ever accidents with Mike, not with me. So I think that like made a big difference. And the other thing, obviously I mentioned the naked thing first. They actually don't, like, I actually don't know if this is a female Jamie or a male Jamie, so I'm just gonna say they. They actually don't mention in the book to like when, like specifically how long to stay naked for. It's just until you've reached like certain hurdles, and for us that was a day. But the naked thing was very much like part of the book. Like you will learn the cues from like your child's specific cue that they need a wee or a poo from them being naked, because it might be really subtle. Riv's actually quite obvious. She does the like typical like crossing her legs, doing a little dance, holding her bits kind of thing. So I think I would have got that without her being naked, but it also just makes a big difference in terms of them being able to get on the potty, because pulling your pants down and or your trousers down and squatting and sitting on the toilet at the same time is kind of a complicated move for a 2-year-old. So being naked really helped. We did naked for a day, and then we introduced clothes slowly, which is another thing that Jamie mentioned in this book. Said to introduce the pants last, like the knickers last, not pants as in trousers, the knickers, the underwear last, because they feel the most like a nappy, which is another thing that I got completely wrong when I first tried to do it with Riv. I kind of like showed her the underwear and got her excited about the underwear to put it on straight away, whereas we actually left it like a full week after kind of being potty trained. She was still just in a dress. That's the good thing about summer. She was just in a dress with no knickers on. Obviously, like, we didn't really take her out, to be fair, but if you were going to go out, I probably would have kind of introduced the knickers a bit sooner, because I wouldn't really want to take her out with no knickers on. But in terms of like introducing clothes, and we've literally only just started her wearing trousers again, mostly because of the weather, but we kind of did the trousers and the underwear last because that's what feels more secure. And we did also notice she had no accidents whatsoever until we put her in knickers. So we had a week of like just literally going from nappies to potty, no accidents or anything. Then we introduced knickers and she had a couple of accidents. Then we got used to the knickers. So the knickers are like the second hurdle for us. And that's really all I'm going to tell you about tips from this book, because genuinely, if you are struggling with potty training, I couldn't recommend this more. It worked for us so well. And I've also got 2 other recommendations. For one of them is a potty, and my sister had one of these when she had her kids, but I can't really remember much about it, because I feel like when you don't have kids and someone in your family is potty training, you just don't really, I don't know. I was also quite young when my sister had her kids, so I don't think I was like that interested in the potty training. Probably just more interested in playing with them. But there's loads of different potties on the market. There's loads of different things. And the best purchase for us has been this, which is a Carry Potty. I can't believe I'm showing a potty on the internet. But I'm hoping this helps some of you if you're like shopping for potties, because genuinely this is the one we use all the time. We do have a few like generic like just potties around the house in terms of like upstairs and downstairs, but this is the one she likes the most, firstly because it looks cute and also because it is kind of like a novelty for her. I bought this mostly for when we go out, and to be fair, if we weren't living in the times of COVID, I feel like the foldable like loo seat things that go on top of public toilets would have been an option as well, because they're a bit more compact for like traveling around and carrying around. But at the moment I don't want to go into a public toilet. Like, I hold it myself to avoid going into a public toilet whenever I can if we're out, and I don't want to take River into a public toilet because you know what kids are like, little kids, they're like touching things, touching toilet seats. So if you can avoid it, it's best to, in my mind, it's best to avoid public toilets right now if you can. And this makes it so easy. Basically this comes around in the back of the car with me. It opens up and it's like a vacuum sealed, it's probably still a bit wet because I just washed it out. It's a vacuum sealed potty, right? And you can see like it closes like a Tupperware, it clicks together, and then you can literally pick it up and carry it. So carry whatever's in there. You can, if you can dispose of it, you can, but you can't smell anything, you can't whatever, it can sit in the back of the car like that all the way home until you get home, and you can clean it up. And this has just been amazing, both in terms of like if we go to someone's house or if we go wherever, it's just like something that is there and it's portable and it's cute, and she really likes it. And it's also taught her the whole kind of like, she'll shut the lid and then she'll come and take it to the toilet with me and help me like put it down the toilet. I think she kind of gets it. I do also think in terms of, I know a lot of parents like to skip potties in general and put like the toilet inserts on. That's not something that we did because we wanted to teach her actually how to do it herself. And I think with things like pulling your pants down and like learning all of the motions like that, it's easier on a potty rather than going up the little steps onto the toilet. So that's what's worked for us. And in terms of being portable, that thing is amazing. I would 100% recommend that. And last but not least, I've got some knickers to recommend, which is so weird. I never thought I'd be talking about potties, let alone talking about children's pants. But I found this, just kids, little girls' knickers are just like, they're just a bit tacky, most of them. They've got like unicorns or whatever on. And if your kid is the kind of kid that you know, wants cartoons, so be it. River's not, she's really not bothered. And I found these pants from Next and they are so cute. I've literally bought them in the next 2 sizes up because I know that they'll stop making them by the time she's big enough to fit into them. And they are these. So they're navy and white. They're literally the cutest. My sister saw them as well and she was like, oh my god, I'm going to order them for Lulu because they're that cute. One of them has like a cat design on them, and I usually don't go for like cartoony stuff. Riv literally, I'm going to insert this here, Riv literally doesn't care what she wears, by the way. She's not one of those girls that's like wants to dress up or anything. She's quite functional about clothes. She'd rather just stay in her pajamas, wouldn't we all? But yeah, so they have the little cat ones, but the detail on them is so pretty. They're such good quality, and they have, look at this ruffle. The ruffle trim, so cute. So they have the cat ones, they have little flower ones, they have striped ones. The cutest kids knickers ever. I'm going to stop talking about kids knickers because it's weird. Yeah, so that is it for my potty training experience. I'm not going to call it my advice, I'm not going to call it my tips, because everyone is going to have a different experience. But I can like 1000% recommend this book, because seriously I was getting worried about it in terms of like, what do I do? I never thought I would read a book on it because I didn't think it would be that difficult, and it turned out it was. But this book, it's easy to read as well. It's not like it's actually like well written, it's quite funny, it's cut up into individual like bite-sized chunks, and it's really brilliant. So I will link that below. I'll link the knickers as well and the potty. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you're struggling with potty training, maybe this will help. If you have any tips for anyone else from your experience, then comment below, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye!